Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down celebrity businesses. I'm going to talk about $3 billion brands, 3 brands that didn't get the traction they quite wanted, and then what that means for 2 up-and-coming brands, and what we can learn. So if you want to nerd out about business with me and talk about celebrities, stick around. So the first business that we are going to talk about is Rihanna's Fenty Beauty. This was launched in 2017 after 2 years of research with a partnership with LVMH and an exclusive contract with Sephora. This was the game changer in the beauty industry. They released 40 different shades of foundation at launch. They now have 50. But this was something that had never been done before. And you have to remember, on YouTube, this was also the era of the beauty guru. So Fenty was everywhere. And it was really cool to see all of these inclusive shades that you hadn't actually seen before when you went into a Sephora. They had a slew of viral products. I remember that 24 karat gold highlighter, that you just paint on and you look absolutely gorgeous. And Rihanna being Rihanna, she's not going to release a bad product, right? She's not going to go, oh yeah, let me just slap my name on some makeup. This was 2 years of research, and her having been famous for, I think probably about a decade at that point, she understood how makeup was supposed to look like, what made it feel good, how the formulas are supposed to work. So people trusted her brand from the offset, and it's now been around for almost 10 years, and now it's a $1 billion brand. The next brand, real quick, SKIMS. I know, you guys. But they're great businesswomen. I know I'm defending a Kardashian, but they're fantastic businesswomen. Gosh, you know what? That's dream lunch with Kris Jenner. That's what I want to learn everything. But you know what? Again, she saw a hole in the market. She was like, hey, this doesn't make any sense to have seams in shapewear. Why do I have to go dye my shapewear? I shouldn't have to do that. Why can't I find shapewear if I want to wear something that has one slit up the leg? I need to be able to find shapewear. So she just made it. She basically found a hole in the market. Now they keep in the media. They kind of do like this interesting bra that I'm going to show up here if they don't censor it. And so they do interesting things. They have like collaborations with Nike now and stuff like that. And they still, they do quite a bit, but their big earner is shapewear. And again, inclusive colors, awesome brand. I think it's great. They have brick and mortar stores now. They're valued, if you look at a variety of websites, it's between $1 and $4 billion. So they're doing well. And then I'm going to name this for nostalgia purposes, and because everyone's talking about Fenty right now, I'm going to mention Vitaminwater. Now, this was actually the first celebrity big exit that I remember because I was a teenager at the time. But Fenty invested. He basically took an equity share, so he took 10% of Vitaminwater. He invested in it. And you have to remember, this was 2004, right? So there really wasn't we weren't health conscious, right? We didn't have all of this. There wasn't a wellness space yet. But he saw a hole in the market. Hey, this is water that tastes good, that has vitamins in it and some flavoring. If you go into a 7-Eleven or you go into a gas station and you don't want a sugary corn syrup or energy drink, then you can just pick up a Vitaminwater and feel good about yourself. Kind of ahead of the curve in the wellness space, but now you can't go anywhere without seeing Vitaminwater either in the aisle at Target or, Walmart or, like I said, any gas station or 7-Eleven. So with 50's 10% stake in the company was bought by Coca-Cola for $4.1 billion, making 50's exit about $100 million. So he made out very, very well. And yeah, like I said, solved a problem. Okay, so you can kind of see we're going linear here. It's all just about solving a problem. Now, we're going to talk about 3 companies that maybe didn't get the momentum that they wanted. So the first one we're going to talk about, believe it or not, Rihanna. But this time it's all about Fenty, the clothing line. Now, she launched Fenty with LVMH, the people that own Louis Vuitton and like every other major fashion house out there, in 2019. Obviously, we know what happened in 2020, and it shuttered it went into hiatus, I should say, in 2021. Now, the thing about Fenty is a lot of it looked like streetwear, and it was very expensive. I'm talking like $3,000 coats and stuff. And so I kind of feel like maybe they did it backwards, because everyone knows that accessories and perfume and makeup are huge sellers. In fact, sometimes the majority of the sellers of these big fashion houses, think Dior and Chanel and everything. And I kind of wonder if they had started Fenty, the clothing line, and then went into Fenty Beauty, would that have worked out better? Would the clothing line have survived? Because you think about like Victoria Beckham, right? Now she sells one eyeliner every minute. I mean, I have one of her eyeliners, and I have her perfumes. I can't afford one of her dresses, but I do love smelling like her perfumes. So I do wonder about that. I'm like, oh yeah, if they had started the Fenty clothing line and then they had gone into beauty, would that have made it a bit better? Regardless, Riri is still a billionaire or a multi-billionaire, because I believe Fenty Beauty is worth $1 billion and her Fenty lingerie is worth $1 billion. So she's fine. The next one, now I am aging myself here. I am not of the TikTok generation, so bear with me here. But Addison Rae got very famous during the pandemic for her dancing videos, and she ended up releasing a beauty line in 2020. In 2021, it got onto Sephora shelves, and it also seems to have gone into hiatus in 2023. It's called Item Beauty. There's not too much on this particular brand or product. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of reviews, and it just kind of seemed like they didn't really have a hero product. They weren't selling a particular aesthetic, and I think it was just sort of, I think people felt it was more of a cash grab, because it was like, well, what does a TikToker know about makeup, right? Like, she wasn't a beauty influencer, so it was just kind of like, just because you have 93 million followers or whatever it is, doesn't mean that they're all going to be purchasers, right? They're not all going to be clients. So it's kind of interesting, because, you would think, oh, wow, right? One of the most famous women on the internet, of course, she's going to get, her brand's going to explode, but it sort of just fizzled out, right? As opposed to Fenty Beauty, that had a variety of shades, as well as viral products. Or if we're going to go and look at another $1 billion brand real quick, Rhode Beauty by Hailey Bieber, right? She had that whole glazed donut look thing. And she was like, here's your skincare process. This is what you do. This is how your makeup should look. And then you get this particular look. There was like an aesthetic there. Or Rare Beauty, all of their on top of everything being highly pigmented and of good quality, all their packaging was easy to open for people with dexterity issues. So that included a whole other side of the public that hadn't really been considered before. So when you compare those 3 mega brands to Addison Rae's Item, you just go, oh, okay. No hero product, nothing really went viral, and there wasn't anything particularly special about that particular brand. So yeah, they went into hiatus in 2023, but she's still successful in a variety of other ways. She's still making good money. This was just one of the ones that didn't really work, and it was pulled from Sephora. And again, being pulled from Sephora, this isn't just for TikTokers. J-Lo had J-Lo Beauty pulled from Sephora. And, this was a woman that is a pop star and a movie star, and she had the #1 movie and the #1 album, at her peak back in the early 2000s, right? So she's She's an icon. But again, no hero product. People just went, yeah, I bought it, and I don't think I'd buy it again. You know, they go, okay, well, the packaging was cool, but I didn't really feel a difference in my skin, so I'm not going to repurchase it. So it's just business 101, right? If you sell twice as many apples as you do oranges, you're going to carry twice as many apples than you do oranges to try to make the sale. Not knocking anyone. Everyone's still doing absolutely fantastic. And the last company that we're going to talk about, it's Goop. Still has yet to turn a profit. It's been around for almost 2 decades now. But this is not without trying, because I think they did just get another round of funding. But when I was researching Goop specifically, I stumbled upon something called Good Clean Goop, which was a company that was at Target between 2023 and 2025. The only thing I really saw was I saw like some kind of a press release, and it said, oh, well, everything's under $40, which, you know, in money speak, that means $39.99, which I think is a bit high for a product that you essentially get at a drugstore. I mean, I know there's La Roche and stuff like that, but that's like made in Europe. That's some nice stuff. But with Goop, you just go, oh, and then you reach for the CeraVe, you know. I'll be honest with you, I never saw it. I was not living on or I am not living on the mainland, so I don't know if it ever even made it out here to our store, because the islands are a little bit different. But yeah, I didn't see it, but you know, I'd be interested if any of you guys ever tried Goop, or if you guys have anything, or Good Clean Goop, I should say. I did see that they do have restaurants now, or they have, and some of it, I think the one in San Jose is like just for to-go orders, so I think it's just a ghost kitchen. So I'd be interested to see where that goes. And you know, I mean, all of it's cool to look at and study, because she is trying. She does continue to go, and you have to remember, Goop started off as like a newsletter. Right, so as a newsletter, it was like, hey, you should go to this place, and then they started selling, you know, jade eggs and candles that smell like a certain part of the anatomy. Yeah, so you know, they're always trying. They know how to stay in the news, and that's really, you know, that's hard to do, because if you look at another lifestyle brand that was started, which was Preserve, which was Blake Lively's. She opened that in 2014 and then closed it in 2015, and I think a lot of it, you know, I respect what she said when she closed it, because they just couldn't really figure out the tone, and they didn't really feel like they were doing good work. So I do really respect how she just basically took ownership and was like, yeah, it didn't work, you know. But I think now with like affiliate links and sort of how advanced social media is with like Instagram and stuff, and YouTube being a huge platform, I think I think kind of that old school lifestyle brand is sort of done, because everyone just goes on social media and post, right? And like, oh, you want to be a part of my world? Here's this outfit that I wore to the gym. Here's the affiliate link, you know, rather than having like a curated website. So yeah, either way, like interesting stuff just to look at and go, why did this not work? Why have they not made a profit? You know, that stuff sort of fascinates me. Now, those are the 3 that did not do that well. And so we're going to talk about 2 brands that are up and coming. One is SYRN, and the other one is As Ever by Meghan Markle. So first up, SYRN by Sydney Sweeny. This literally launched like 3 weeks ago, and everything sold out on the website. And when I went to go look at the website, I thought a few things, and then I wanted to see if if it was just me, if I was just getting geriatric in my old age. But I went and I started looking through like other posts on Reddit, like on like lingerie Reddit, specific Reddit pages. And there seems to be a general consensus, which is the clothing looks cheap and the photographs are geared towards the male gaze, but it's lingerie for women. So who are you selling this to? Like, is this men buying lingerie for women? Like, what's going on here? And I gotta say, I agree. And some people say that the branding looks like a salad bar that, like, in Venice, you know, which I'm like, yeah, it kind of looks like so you'd see is like a salad or a smoothie bar, you know, in Southern California. So the art direction is really cool. It's sort of preppy and sort of, but also like grungy sometimes, and then kind of film-like, and then other stuff is just, it's not really my taste, but you know, you go, okay, well, they're having fun with it. Like, at least they're trying, right? It's not safe. But the clothing itself, you're just going, is this drop shipped with a label on it? Like, you know, so that's kind of what people are thinking. You know, did she take the time? Did she design these? You know, what is it about this particular brand of lingerie that you're going to make me want to spend $40 on a bralette versus me just going to Target and buying my usual, right? People like comfort and familiarity. So when you step out and you try a new brand, which a very small portion of the public actually does, you're there's a little bit of angst there, but I don't really see a hero product. I don't see a product that's going to change things. I don't see a product that's like, oh my God, this is going to go viral. Now, I will say, it is rumored that Jeff Bezos is funding a lot of this. So they're going to be able to hire all those people if they want to. So not to say that the brand is failing. I think it's just still trying to find its voice. And and I'm interested to see where it goes, because there's a lot of money behind it, and so I'd love to see, you know, who they can hire and sort of the imagination behind it, because, you know, it has potential, right? So we'll see, you know, we'll see where that goes. Now, the last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about Meghan Markle's As Ever. Now, she announced this brand, I want to say like January of last year. And she said that Netflix was going to be her partner in the lifestyle brand. But I don't really know how. Because if you look on the Netflix website right now, her products are not on their website. And her products also weren't at the brick and mortar locations, and her products themselves weren't actually featured on her show either. There's no like hero shot of like her opening her tin of like As Ever flour sprinkles and then sprinkling it on eggs. So I'm not really sure what she meant when she said that Netflix was her partner. Now, if you don't know about As Ever, it was a brand that was launched, I want to say everything dropped like March or April of last year. And she sold spreads, tea, and on what would have been Princess Diana's 64th birthday, she launched an alcohol. And for those of you who don't know, Princess Diana was killed by a drunk driver in 1997. I should also note Princess Diana is Meghan's mother-in-law. She's married to Prince Harry. And she sells candles. So, so that's pretty much the bulk of it. She released like a mulling kit or something, and then a cider kit, and then chocolate bars in January. So there have been like a little bit more drops, but she's still pushing the fruit spread and the tea and stuff. I think she's trying to consider herself a lifestyle brand. But the thing is, I don't really see a brand voice. You know, here's a picture of toast again, and here's some crumbs, and you're like, okay. And then like, here's a picture of a cup with a little tea bag thing coming, and you're like, okay, that's cool, but like, transport me. Right? Like, take me somewhere. And I'm just thinking of the company Flamingo Estates. Now, as I love them, they look very expensive, but I just recently stumbled across they have like the box inspired from Mexico. So they have like this exotic honey and like these cool bars of soap. They're not even a bar, they're like a giant cube. They have mole, well, Mexican mole, which is different than Guatemalan mole, which is where my mom's from. Mexican mole is sweet, and Guatemalan mole is like a gravy. But still, it's so cool. And anytime I see this ad, it's like you're transported in like this Mexican hacienda up in the mountains with like your outdoor shower. And it's just like, oh man. And you really want it. Like you get really excited for it. And it's just soap and honey. Like you're just, but it's really, really, really good advertising. And so when you see that and then you go, oh, okay, that's a shot of bread. Like, transport me to Montecito, right? You know, so, but, you know, she hasn't found, I think, her brand voice yet. So, you know, but I'm curious because the majority of the products were dropped, like March last year, right? Her spreads and her teas and stuff. But the problem is I can go get chamomile tea at my grocery store for cheap. I can go to the Dollar Tree and get chamomile tea. And in regards to the fruit spread, I was doing a price comparison. I can go get a jar of, I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm just going to put this up here. But this is, every grocery store in the country's got this. It's $7 here where I live. I love this particular brand. It's imported from France. You know it's good for you. You know there's no corn syrup or anything. You can't even see through the jar because there's so much fruit in it. And I can buy this, or I can buy half the product for twice as much money if I buy a jar of spread. In this economy where people are trying to figure out if they can buy eggs, I don't really think people are going to go out and buy something incredibly expensive unless it does something like Flamingo Estates does, which is transport you to a completely different place, and you're going to get really excited to try like Mexican vanilla honey or whatever they have in their box. So I think that's kind of, that's sort of where I think everyone's sort of sitting back and going, okay, that was the first year of As Ever. So what's next? Anyone can slap their name on a tin of chamomile tea, but like, what is it about putting your name on something that makes it special, right? It's not just putting your name on it. We know that from, you know, Addison Rae, J-Lo, and Gwyneth Paltrow, right? These are all megastars, and yet you just go, okay, why am I going to buy it, right? So if we're going to break down As Ever, it's, okay, does it solve a problem, and what's the hero product? Does it solve a problem? What's the hero product? Are there answers for that, right? Whereas if I had made like, I don't know, like a vanilla chamomile tea, that might have been, but even then I can buy that at the supermarket, right? Or if I had done like a strawberry rhubarb rose jam, that would be different, right? Because there's a bit of novelty to that. People go, oh, I want to buy that. I mean, it's a little expensive, but in the same way that I'm like excited about Flamingo Estates and I'm talking to you guys about it, right? So that's the whole thing. So, I mean, has she found her voice? I don't think she's found the brand voice just yet. But, you know, it's been a year now. I think maybe they're getting into the flow of things, and then we'll see what happens. Regardless, you know, all these people are doing great. They're all financially well off. You know, they're all making a lot more money than we are. But it's interesting to sort of, as an outsider, sort of take a look in and go, okay, why do some celebrity brands fail and then some of them actually do really well? But yeah, business fascinates me. It's just commentary. I'm not a business professional. I own a little shop called Montecito Minimalist. If you guys want to see it, there'll be a link down in the description below. But yeah, if you just want to nerd out with me, we can nerd out together. But I'll try to upload at least once a week. And so hopefully I'll see you next week, if not sooner. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!